a quick introduction from me, myself, Marziano. Thank you, Robin, for the introduction. And next to me, as you can see on the picture, is my wife. So I live in Leicester, and I originally come from a place called Daman in India, which was part of the Portuguese colonization. So, but I've lived in Leicester for over 25 years. So my introduction is that I by studying I'm an engineer, qualified as a B engine mechatronics, but I've not done engineering. I'm doing continuous improvement for supply chain at the minute. So that's what I've been doing for the last 5 years. Yeah, I live in Leicester, blessed with 3 kids. So a quick, I'll just quickly, take you through how I started my journey into property. Yeah, so my first property journey was in 2000, began in 2014. But I got married in 2012. I hope I got the year right. Otherwise, if my missus is listening, she's not going to be happy with me. So, we had a little bit of money, and we just bought a property. And I never thought of making a property as an investment or making money out of it. So I bought the property, and it's only when my brother he got into property, and then he introduced me, saying, Maz, why can't you get into property? So that's when I started looking into it. So the journey, the proper investment journey, only started in 2019. And I started looking more into property, how it all works, the legalities of property, and what do I need to do to get things right. I didn't even know that you needed a separate mortgage. I just thought, you just rent it out. So I started doing a bit of Google search, on property, and yeah, so that was my first journey in property. Uh, and never thought about expanding or making it into anything bigger. So once there's a moment where it clicks with you that this is something you want to do. And I think soon after the 2019 transfer to a buy to let, it clicked into me that I think I want to do property. And at the same time, I was refurbishing my own property where I was living at. And I remember we lived in the attic, right at the top for nearly 6 months, because we uh, we ended up refurbishing the whole property. So yeah, it was a good experience, and I think that's when I started enjoying, the project management, the design, the colors, what I wanted. That's when I actually started to get more deeply into property. So I ended up taking few courses, and courses. I don't want to say that I recommend or I don't recommend. It's useful, and I think just like any courses, we go to school, we go to university, unless you don't apply it, it doesn't make any sense. And the courses are really expensive out there. So be very, I've made some mistakes as well. I must admit, overpaying a course, losing out on money, and never make a decision out of emotion. That's what I learned, because the emotion can cost you. The next big thing I think in this journey is your mindset. Now, if you don't begin with your mindset, I think you'll never change, you'll never progress. So your mindset is the key in whatever business. We're talking about property. In whatever business, I believe it's the mindset, because if you believe you can do it, you will do it. If you believe you can't do it. And this famous quote was said by Mr. Henry Ford. So if you believe you can do it, it all starts in your head, and you can do it. So then I built a small portfolio. Me and my missus, we learned the tricks of BRRR, which most of you probably know: buy, refurbish, refinance and rent. So we did a few, and then we built up a small portfolio in a few years, which I believe it was done at the right time. And where the rates were really low, we locked in for 5 years. So I'm really grateful in that period, that we were able to get the deals, and yielding high cash flow from the property. Now, the this is one of the examples that one of the property that's in rent, buy to let, small portfolio. And what I mean to say is that with these kind of strategy, anyone can do it. Everyone can do it. If you have a deposit, uh, anyone can go and start into a buy to let property. Now, once once you've built a small portfolio, I was thinking, what's next for my property journey? What's next in my property journey? And so that's why I think this is so important now, having the creative finance in place, and also the myths behind the property world. And this is what I heard in my initial days. So without the creative finance, you're stuck in the same place for a longer period of time. So what I mean by that is that because there's no additional finance coming in, what tends to happen is you're stuck, because you have to then work, save, and save up for this deposit to start looking into your next project. So we all know how hard it is right now with everything going up, and even if it wasn't this in this period of time, it's hard to create a pot of money to go into your next level, into your next project. It's also a myth that you need a lot of money. I can guarantee you that we've started with very little money of our own. uh, the other myth is that you need good credit history. Now, it is true that with the banks, with the traditional lending, you need good credit history. But with creative finance, you get away with good credit, and you can basically become your own credit, and build your own portfolio. And also another myth is that you need to have a high income job. I don't. I think I'm average salaried. I'm nowhere near a high income person. And also since my first child was born, my wife Jolina, who is also the director at Oasis Dwellings, she's never been to work since our child is born. So for us it was creating that freedom that we need. And also we have a bigger purpose in life, to serve the community, and that's our mission. So when you have a purpose, it becomes easier to follow your dream. uh, there's another myth, and I get this a lot. When I talk to people who are not doing it as professionals, there is no money in property, and I think that's the biggest myth. Now, there isn't money in property if we're doing it the wrong way, if we don't apply strategy. And remember, any business is a numbers game. So if you're not looking into our return on investment, ROI, and how the numbers stack up, that becomes a problem. Then you can say that there is no money in property. Also, I've seen people get into property without doing any numbers, without checking what's the initial cost, the initial setup versus outgoing. And that's how would uh, how you would build your property portfolio. And the next one, I think the biggest one where people think, is get rich quick. And I think I've seen so many people think that come into property, you buy a few houses, and that's it, you become a millionaire overnight. And for me, property is a is a long journey. It's a journey. It's a stable journey. When you compare to most asset, most investment, but it's not a get rich quick thing. I believe that maybe a few percentage have done it, but I think it's a long game. We need to be in it for a long period of time to win it. So I would say property. So why do we need creative finance? So when I met Jito, I was looking to grow. So when I met Jito, we discussed few possibilities and how we would take the business forward. And myself and Jolina, we took about 6 months to decide. And I think this was the perfect strategy because we are also helping other people to make money with us. So it creates a win-win situation for both of us. So I want to give you a bit of statistics. So the whole idea was from going from a traditional landlord to a property entrepreneur. So we can properly do it as a business. So I looked up into some statistics, and this is 2001 statistics because I think the 2022 is not out yet. So 43% of the property that's into the rental sector, landlords, they have one property. So 43% of landlords have one property, 39% have between 2 to 4 properties, and 18% have 5 or more. So I was sitting in this bracket, guys, the 39% bracket, 2 to 4. And then now my aim is to move into the 18% to acquire more properties, not just by acquiring properties and it's all about the money, but also adding value into the community, bringing quality property and, sourcing ethical property to the people, because we're dealing with people here. And we need to look after our tenants. So with creative finance, it's an enabler. I think it speeds up things. So if you're doing it traditionally, you have to finish your one project, then look at the money you've got from refinance, or if you don't get the full amount, then you have to wait for however long to save up the money and then start making it, going for your next project. Whereas with creative finance, you can have multiple projects in place going at the same time. Then the terms can be negotiated with the borrower. So you can negotiate the terms as in how long they want to invest with us for. Is it 12 months, 3 years, 5 years? And also you can negotiate the returns. You can start as low as 5% and then go as high as whatever percentage you want. So it all depends on what works for you, the numbers that you put in place to work for you. The other thing, which is a hindrance, I would say, is banks are rigid. So when you go to a bank, they have an offer for you and you can't negotiate with them. You can't say, oh, can I have extra, or can you fix the term from 25 to 20? And if you do, the rates go up. So banks are very rigid. They're not very flexible. So creative finance becomes very important, especially if you want to grow your business. So how did Oasis Dwelling start? So how did I start? Myself and my wife. There's 4 elements, and there could be more, but I'm only going to share my experience with you because this is my journey. Oasis Dwellings as a company has been active for 1 year, and this is where I've applied this strategy. So first, I started off with my family, then friends, colleagues, and then social media. And one thing I think, when everyone starts a business, and even I was thinking this when I was buying my buy-to-let, not to share about my business to anyone, because there's, I don't know why, because there's even quotes that are out there that saying, don't share what you do until you fully succeed. So why I'll tell you that we need to share what we're doing, because without sharing, how will people find out what I'm into and what am I doing? So that's the biggest myth, I think, that people say, that don't share because of X, Y, and Z. There's many excuses that I've heard about not sharing with people. I think the more you share, the more you gain. I think that's what my experience has been so far. So talking about my family, so guys, I think if you can't convince your family, especially your immediate family, like your mom or dad, I think there might be an issue with myself. I think, because my mom or dad don't want to trust me with their money. So My first investor was my mom. And to get my mom to invest in with my property journey, I had to do a bit of breaking the barrier. So the traditional idea was that you make money, you save money, and then you retire. And we all know that by saving money is the worst thing we can do. Worst thing, because without anyone touching your money in the bank, inflation's eating away your money. So it's a clever way of taking your money away from you. So I had to convince my mom. This is the example I used to my mom. Mom, you go to holiday every year, don't you? She goes, yeah. So I go, you spend 1,000, 2,000 pounds every year on your holiday, right? She goes, yes. I said, imagine if you can go on your holiday without spending any of your money, so zero money, and you go on your holiday. Would you like that? And she was like, yeah, why not? Everyone likes a free holiday. So I said, you know what? If you invest with us, I can make this happen for you. So your money stays the same, but you can have a free holiday. So she trusted us, and she was our first investor. Uh, then I explained to her also about the returns in the bank. So if you keep it in the bank, I think she was getting about 0.1% or something like that, something crazy. So we definitely gave her a good return. And it was I experienced my first sales pitch. I could practice my sales pitch. If I was going to convince someone, it had to be my family, right? That they need to trust in the process. They needed to trust in me, most importantly. And yeah, she was my first investor. And then we also have family who's got the money, but we're not decided yet. So they're still thinking about, if I give my money, the fear of losing money. So it's a long journey, and some of them have not got lack of investment, needs time. And I think after a year, there's a few family that's now started coming to me, and we are talking now of how we can get into this investment world. And yeah, like I said, some of them wants the business to mature. So that was the family part. And the next one was friends. So I once you start sharing, you need to share it with everyone. So we've all got WhatsApp group, Facebook, social media, whatever means you've got in terms where you can reach out. So the next people I spoke to personally was my close friends, and I shared about how I could help them make money if they had money. They had the money, but they were undecided about what to do. They had the fear if they could buy the right property, and what if they buy the wrong property and lose that money. So they were undecided about what kind of investment to get into. And then after I explained the process of what we do, it's about making them trust the process, about the legalities of how we do it, about the agreement we put in place. And then it's also setting up for their finance for the future. So we think about our pensions, and you've seen the news about how bad the pension situation is. So if you have this extra layer of protection, it makes you feel safe. That's the end goal, right, for each one of us. And then similarly to family, I've got friends who've got the money, but they're not decided. Some of them said they don't want to invest now because of the current market situation, the inflation and the interest rate going up, and they don't believe that it's the right time to invest with us. But my answer to them was, if they don't want to invest now, we are here to stay. You can reassure to them and say that, look, we are here to stay, and you can come to us anytime, if you want to invest with us. Also needs time and wants to see the business mature, because they want to trust the process. And sometimes the period of year, the longevity, is a process that is proven for a bit of trust to be built on. The next one is colleagues. Now, even at work, I was initially, very reluctant to share at work, because I would be thinking, what will they think about me? Am I allowed to do this? So I cleared it with my HR once, and then with with Jito's help, Jito was like, look, Maz, no one cares about you. You're just working. um, we need to put it out there. Basically, we just need to share about what we do. So I started sharing with everyone at work. I started talking in the break time, or even if I were out, if I had the opportunity, I would talk about, we've started a property business and this is what I do, and then how can I help them invest in the property world. And then also, once they're keen to know more, I would then, say to them that, look, if you want to know more, we give you opportunities to come on a Zoom meeting, a face to face, or a phone call. So I nearly every evening, my mission is now to at least speak to one person, and say, look, this is what I'm doing. Would This is how we work, and would it interest you in any way? Another thing why people would trust you with their money is, your integrity and your loyalty at work. And then you keep on reminding them. I think this is the key process, that you need to be on top of it. And then the next one is social media. You need to be actively posting. You're not gonna just post once and people are going to think, oh yeah, Maz post 6 months ago about some property investment. You need to keep on reminding them, adding value to them, content. So you need to build a social media trust when you start posting. And I've given you an example, actually, just recently. A person, I put a video in some of the Facebook group, and he reached out to me, and it's looking positive. And so we were actually supposed to have the meeting today before this call, but he got stuck, so we've arranged it for next week. But with social media, guys, you have to be very vigilant. There's a lot of scammers out there who's gonna promise you the world, and I nearly got scammed. But we need to be prudent. We need to use our wisdom, trust in the process, uh, look at their process. You can do a lot of due diligence, and then you can say yes or no. And then we want to work ethically. We want to work legally. So you need to do your homework before you decide anything to do. So coming on to that was that you need to be fully compliant. So when your company is fully compliant, it helps detect and prevent any violation with the company. So we know that in this business, or any business, if you get things wrong, it can have a detrimental effect with your company. So it protects your company from legal actions. So as you know, now it's all about claims and legal action. So if we do things right from the beginning, we are protected. Also, the money laundering, we need to be careful where the money is coming from, where we source it from. So just like you would go to a bank, they would do the checks, right? So they would ask for your passport, they would ask for your driving license, proof of income, proof of savings, or whatever. So you need to be very careful with the money laundering. Then if you're fully compliant, you enhance the customer trust. So people start trusting you more because you've done, your company is fully compliant. And then you should be able, or the ability to share with people that this is what you've put in place. So if you visit our website, we've got everything in place on the compliance section that takes you through that we are fully compliant with the law of the land, and we're always trying to update with any new laws that's been added. So we're trying to stay up to date. And then the worst thing that could happen to us is avoid fines and penalties. So we don't want any fines and penalties when we're dealing with our business. So guys, I think the key thing is to reach out to as many people as possible. So from my experience, this is only from my experience, I think I would say on a ratio, I think reach out to 1,000 people and you'll probably get one investor. And I think this is what my experience have been. It might become better the more experience I get, but I think that we need to reach to as many people as possible, and also as often as possible. So that's the key. So every day, it's painful. Trust me, the process is painful. But I would, I tend to post every day. I tend to put videos out. It's a lot of hard work, but I think that if you want your business to get anywhere, you need to put in the hard work. You need to get to as many people as possible to let them know that what you're all about. And my aim is that anyone who thinks investment, they should be thinking Oasis Dwellings. That's my goal. If or any friends or my community or people in Leicester that knows me, or people in the UK or in the world, whoever knows me, that if they think about investment, they should think about Oasis Dwellings. So I found a really good quote, and it says, ultimately, if you are doing great work, the money will come. And I believe in this. Since I've started my journey, I think, it's evident. I think if you do great work, the money will come to you. Similarly with your talent, similarly of what you're offering to the community. If you offer a good product, people and money will come to you. So these are the ways you can reach out to me. Please follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. And before I finish, I want to take you through my social media, just to show you that I've been really active. Every single day, we're active. This is our page. Every day I post every day. People know that what I'm doing. People know that this is our Facebook page, the Instagram page. What's happened? Okay, LinkedIn page. So yeah, I only started with one follower, but it's a slow process. Organic followers. Now we've got 135 followers. So every week we're getting followers starting to trust in our process. Also, you can see the post impression. So people have been checking us out. It's just a question of time, and I believe eventually people should come to us with investment. Oops, I just cancelled. So yeah, that's it from me, guys. I hope I added some value to you through this presentation. So I'll stop presenting. And if there's any questions, or I think, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you, Mazio. You corrected me, Maziano. Yeah, thank you, Maziano, for this presentation on creative finance. I'm sure, especially when we are thinking of property, and property is getting like expensive day by day, and it's out of reach for a lot of young people. And what you have just shown this evening, how you reached out to your family, your friends, your colleagues, and using the social media to start your property journey. So thanks for sharing that insight from your own experience. And I'm sure a lot of people, young people who want to get into the property ladder, investing ladder, they will take a lot out of this. So now it's the opportunity to ask any questions. The platform is open for you. Maziono will do his best to address the questions. So over to you guys.
Hi everyone, can I ask a question?
Yes, Parik, go ahead.
Hello, Maziano. That was very nice. Thank you so much. So, quick question for the investor. We give loan agreement as a security. But what else? What other things that we can give to the investor to give them that assurity or to give them that security?
Mazda, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. I think good question. So similarly, the person I was speaking to on social media, he asked the same question as just you have asked. So there's ways you can be creative where you can give them assurance with your own equity that you have, in your other properties. So you can tell them that I'll back this loan agreement with some other equity in your in the portfolio that you already have. So that gives them more trust to say, okay, I want to invest with you because they've backed me up with another asset that you already have. So in that asset, if you have equity of say 25%, 35%, you could use that to back up, and that gives people more assurance. So yeah, I think that's one way. I don't know if there's more way. Oh yeah, you can give them on the project itself. You can give them charge on the project itself, just like you give the bank a charge, right? On the mortgage property. So there's those two ways I think you can do.
Okay, thank you so much, Maziano. So first charge that I have heard about, but for the equity, whatever we have in our portfolio, so how we can give that equity? Is it some percentage? I mean, do we have any document about it, or do we need to go through like legal documents?
So yeah, I'm sure that they'll, whoever. So I've not actually done one, but I know that this can be backed with your personal equity. So I'm sure there'll be some due diligence, some documents that needs to be proven to them, right? That this is your property, this is how much its value, and this is how much you've got left to pay to the bank. So I think those kind of due diligence can be made by them, or could be asked by the investor, so that they can then have fully trust in whatever we're doing, trusting in the process.
Okay.
Jitro, you've got anything to add? Or
So in terms of the documentation, we need to appoint a solicitor who is a commercial solicitor. Not every solicitor is familiar with how to do it. So if you go to a commercial solicitors who are dealing with properties a lot, for them, they are very used to this process. So they will initially do a TNC, terms and conditions, where you will have a high level overview of what kind of money you are borrowing, what's the percentage of equity available in the portfolio, existing portfolio, to what extent the control they need, so all those things you can put under the terms and then give it to a solicitor, and the solicitor will draft a proper agreement, which will we have to put those properties as a security in that agreement, and then that becomes once it is signed, it becomes a contract, it becomes a binding for both the parties, and once the loan is paid back or that money is paid back, automatically the contract is diluted or dissolved. So and that contract can be against we can register that with the land registry as well, to make it more firm. There are particular forms which you need to fill, which can be included as part of the contract. And then once that is the payment is given back or the money is given, then we have to go back and to reverse it. There is another form which we have to fill, and we don't fill that form. The solicitor has to do that. They have only when the solicitor is done, then only the land registry will respect it. We can't do it personally, but we will get notifications to say that this form was received, and we have now received another form to remove those restrictions from the property. So we will receive notifications. So it's a process which commercial solicitors who deal with property are very familiar, and they do it quite regularly.
Yeah. And in terms of that kind of a loan agreement, I think my company will find out next week, hopefully, because we are talking to someone who's looking into this kind of an agreement.
Okay, that's good. So that will be nice to hear, Vaziano,
Yeah.
in future. Yeah, how it goes. Thank you so much, Jito.
Welcome, Pari. Yeah.
I think there's a question. Oh, I have to drop off. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Any more questions? So Mazio, if there is no more questions, I think then I'll just give a quick update on the upcoming events of Project Possible. So the next month, we got Pari, who was actually just asked the question. So Pari will be coming live next month, and she will be coming with a completely different topic, but again related to property, and someone who wants to learn and grow in property. Pari will be adding value to everyone next month. So we will make the announcements in terms of the date, the time, the topic, details about it, all those things. We will share it on our platform, on Project Possible social media platforms, on Facebook, on other platforms. So make sure that you are watching the space, you are connected with us on the social media so that you are well aware. And if you have any other questions and you want to reach out to us, please use the social media platforms, or you can personally connect. We all are very much active on social media, so you can personally reach out and connect to us. Yeah. And like in terms of the Project Possible, the recordings which we have done in the past. So for almost more than a year, we've been doing live event on Project Possible. We have done so many training modules. So those are absolutely free and available on YouTube channel for Project Possible. We have a YouTube channel. You can just go and search Project Possible, and you will find the YouTube channel wherein all those videos are saved. Absolutely free for you to access. There's a lot of content. So if you are a beginner in property, if you have just started your journey, there's plenty for you to go through it. As Mazio was referring to courses, it can be very expensive, or sometimes you can fall into a wrong course. And again, after learning, if you're not applying it, there's no use. So our YouTube channel can be a very good starting point where you can get a lot of insight, initial stepping stone of understanding the property and things like that, and you can build on it. So please do visit our Project Possible YouTube channel and continue your learning journey. So for now, once again, thank you for joining us. People who are virtually joined us, thank you. And all those people who are watching us live on YouTube and so many other platforms, thank you for joining us this evening. And please continue to grow in your property journey, and we are here to continue to add value and help you in your journey. So on that note, once again, thank you and have a good rest of the evening.
Thank you, everyone.